Okay, diving right in. I was asked to write down 5 things, impossible things, if you will, and what they would bring for me, feelings, emotions, things like this. So, first one was a cave and a grotto with a hot spring. That's me. I want to live in that. It's living in a place of healing, grounding, and home. Well, the cave is dark and it's warm and it's just hope, you know. Um, I think of it like the guys that used to be paid to live in a grotto in the 18th and 19th century, and these people would make these elaborate places. I forget the name of them, but they would have a Greek shrine. They would have all sorts of things going on, and they would have some mendicant or some hermit of some kind who they would support and pay to live in a grotto or grove and be there to be wisdom for the people, be part of the story, be part of the journey and the park, if you will. That's part of the park. That's where I want to be in a lot of ways. I want a lot of new shit, but I want my home to be in the grotto, in the dark, and in the cave, but in a healing place, not a dark sort of uh, the hot spring is about that, right? That's about the healing. I would love to have the hot spring and a cool spring with an opening in the cave ceiling that brings in this light. This light, the same light coming through. Um, it just feels home to me. Someone who knows the devil in the dark. I'm a Star Trek fan. If you didn't know, I've known Star Trek since I was small, and I've always loved it. And the story of the Devil in the Dark is an original series story, and it's the story of miners on this planet, and they're struggling because there's a dangerous creature in the dark that's attacking them, and they don't know why. So they call in the Enterprise, they call in Kirk and Spock and them, and eventually they find out that this devil in the dark isn't a devil. They're hurting their mother to these orbs, the eggs in the caves. These people keep finding these eggs and these orbs and destroying them. They don't mean anything to them. And I'm saying, no, no, these are my children. Somebody who knows. And then their Spock comes in because this creature, this Horta, it's called, doesn't speak the same language as the people. Obviously not. Spock has to come in and mind meld and realize this person is this character, this creature is in pain. Don't hurt them. Don't provoke them. Someone who knows my devil doesn't want to hurt me or harm me in that, but understands and helps bring me out of it. Someone who knows the devil in darkness, being understood, helped, and guarded. And I need that. I've lived a lot of life in the dark. Not always through my own fault, not always through my own issues, but other people have caused me pain. And I need people who understand and will be with me in the dark and will see me. I'm just blessed by the great bird. And again, the great bird of the galaxy. you didn't know is another Star Trek reference. Comes from another original series episode. I can't remember the name of that one, but in it, Mr. Sulu gets brought a meal by somebody because he's busy and he's not paying attention to what he's doing. And busy doing what he's doing, he doesn't pay attention to the world. So somebody says, "Hey, you need to eat. Do this, do that." But they come in with this food and they say, "Do this," and Sulu's like, "Thank you. May the great bird of the galaxy bless you." You know, that's what I need. I need people who will do that with me. It's about the quirks we have and the quirks we share and the things we do, the joys and the blessings joined, given and accepted. We are connected beings. And somebody who can see where I'm at and bring me what I need that. And I need to be able to do that for others. And if you do that for me, I will do that for you. And may the great bird of the galaxy bless you. I will ever be grateful. I will always be there to bless you if you bless me. I'm watching myself on the screen instead of looking at you in the camera. But it is what it is. This is just me reading and free flowing with my emotions and my energies. Number 4, musical theater stage of life. This is more just a fun, you know what I thought is being able to be the subspace Rhapsody, and that's just another Star Trek reference. This one much more recent from one of the new shows called Strange New Worlds. The episode is Subspace Rhapsody, and they get caught in a subspace anomaly that makes everybody sing, makes everybody need to move and dance. And when they find when they find their harmony together, only when everybody knows their purpose and their place, even if it's a simple purpose. Some people are here to collect and pull and guide. Some people are there to provide a simple role. Like one of the characters, Ortegas. You know, I mean, there's some real world aspects to the actor who portrays Ortegas having gone through a major issue, and so they scaled down their role because they needed the time and space to heal. And sometimes we need that. We do. We need time and space to heal. But anyway, Ortega's in the show is the pilot. She's guiding the ship, from the console. And in the show, she comes to a place of, I fly the ship. That's all I need to do. That's my purpose, is to fly the ship. Some of us have elaborate purpose. Some of us have big roles. Some of us have simple, beautiful, necessary roles. But other people outside, yeah, all the fans of the show. Some people were like, "Oh, this stupid little, I find shit. What is this?" But sometimes it's all me. We're not all called to be absolutely everything. And it's musical theater of life, because in the show they weren't on a stage. They just had to learn to sing together. Together. That's harmony in ASL. It's harmony. when they were able to find that harmony, they were able to free themselves as a community. They were able to harmonize and free themselves. So I want to see that in the world. That's, I guess that's my purpose. I want to see people find their purpose and bring it together, bring it out so that it can elevate, free everybody. And the last one, be the phoenix. I got under it. It's in full power. Yes, I'm trying to do that right here. Be the phoenix. But the phoenix is not just a fire. The phoenix story is one of death and rebirth, and death and rebirth, and finding power. The phoenix is born from ash, a little bit of ashes, and then find the phoenix will rise from it. And that phoenix has power. That phoenix fly and light up the world. And then they reach the end of something and they have to die and go back into the ash. But they rise again. They rise again. And they rise again. And I've gone through transformations. Childhood, teenager, 20s, 30s, and now I'm in my 40s. I seem to have had rebirths over time. When I was a kid, I could feel things, I could sense things, and I had to go into the ash and bury that. As a teenager, I went and I tried to just be what I was expected to be. And in my 20s, I continued to pursue that because Sister Act, when it came out, remember Boogie Woogie Piano Nun with the little box on her, little wire, deaf, a deaf symbol, if you will, her FM system, her hearing aid that she wore here. Um, remember watching the show, the movie with the family. We rented it from a Blockbuster. We rented it, and here's Whoopi coming into the into the choir practice for the first time. She's organizing people and saying, "You need to be here, you need to be here, you need to be here," and then she got everybody organized. And she turns to Sister Alma, and Alma's not paying attention. Alma's fiddling with her head. And all of a sudden, Alma, read a treat, please. That's, and when that happened, somebody in the family said, "Oh look, it's Lori." So my teens and 20s, that's what I tried to be. And I did that. And that's through a couple of different power moments. Phoenix rising, Phoenix dying, rising. And I figured out after a few rounds of blah, 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 that, oh, that was somebody else's idea. I was never meant to be a nun because I was actually never female. It was a bit more than that in the journey, but it was like, oh, well, this was a no, this was a no, this was a what if these answers mean something is going on. And from that, I realized how I was fooling myself, calling myself something that I was not. And realized when I had to go and look at a whole lot of other stuff and realized, oh, yeah, no, I'm trans. I'm masculine, I'm not feminine. So went on that journey, and until we rose from those ashes again. Now I'm trying to rise from another ashes pile of ash of literally a decade of chronic pain, making some interesting and silly choices and dumb choices, trying to focus on something that wasn't conducive to my healing and my growth. And now we're here. And this is the start of a new journey. We just went through it, and I just went through the pile of ashes again and trying to rise from it. So that was 5 things, and welcome to my channel, friends. I'm not decided on a name for it yet, but here I am. And if you see the rats wandering around, and there is ED, he's got some physical issues, so he's locked away, but you'll see the rest of them running around once in a while. I'm debating whether I cover this more, give you guys something a little bit nicer to look at. Right now, it is a mess, and there's my addiction. That's my life. And the rat race begins again, rising from the ashes.